Hey, what's going on? This is John Fortune, your host of the binge watch anime show, the Anbu Anime Review. Now, today's review is a show that I feel is the prequel to Psycho Pass. Now, if you haven't seen Psycho Pass, I strongly suggest you see my review of Psycho Pass so before you start watching this particular anime. And to be quite honest, it's one of the animes that I actually find really enjoyable and exciting. So the anime that I'm going to be reviewing today is InVaded. Now, I'm going to give you the show's description. Meet Sakaido. Wow. Sounds like a blind date, doesn't it? For that to be the show's description, it's almost like, hey, come in, meet Sakaido, your date for the night. But meet Sakaido, a brilliant detective who solves cases by entering the world of the killer's unconscious mind through the id will. Now, I will say this, the show's description doesn't give you a lot to entice you to watch it, but I'm suggesting to you that you should watch it because it really is a compelling anime. So I think, like I said, don't always judge everything on the show's description. As a person who watches animes just for the sake of watching animes, sometimes the show's descriptions don't really give you the details of the show, and it may sometimes not get you excited about watching the show. So don't always use the show description as a means to watch it. So I'm going to get into it. Of course, the protagonist is Sakaido. Sakaido is a former homicide detective whose family was killed by a serial killer, and in response, he's now labeled a criminal. He becomes the perfect user for the id will. Now, the id will is a device that they use to go into the unconscious mind of the criminals, but at the same time not need the criminals there to go into their unconscious minds. It's almost like Minority Report. They kind of find out who the criminals are without actually being there, and there's a way that they do that. Now, Sakaido uses the id will to investigate serial killers through their cognitive particles. He is assisted by a team of people who monitor his every step while he is in the mind of the killers. To find the killers, they use a device called the Wakumasubi, which has the ability to detect a person's murderous intent. Now, for some of you who've seen my review of Psycho Pass, there are similarities like this particular one, where in Psycho Pass they use a dominator. Here they use the Wakumasubi, which again basically measures the same thing, but it's a little different how they use them and operate. One of his team members, Handu Machi, she wants to become an id will user. And what happens is that as she goes along, they tell her that the only way she can become an effective id will user or id will user at all is that she would have to kill someone. So that is the first twist in the entirety of the anime. You start to find out that this anime is far more darker than what you could even imagine. Not only is it darker, it really does give you a sense of vast detail when they fall into the id well and everything like that. Like I said, my reviews aren't to spoil a lot of stuff for you guys, so I'm going to kind of jump around so I don't make a mistake of giving up too much. But there are a lot of similarities to Psycho Pass that I feel in reality gives this particular anime the prequel feel to Psycho Pass. Again, this is another anime where people will think that they know who the antagonist is, and then later on you find out that the antagonist is somebody completely different. Not only that it's going to absolutely shock you who you find out who the actual protagonist is. And a lot of the events that goes on actually happens within the id will. Now, here's another element to the id will. Now, in the id will, what happens is if they die in the conscious of the criminal's mind, what happens is that even though they're still alive in the real world, they will actually experience real death. And there are times where they can come out of the id will and go right back into the id will. So it's a very, very detailed anime. They did a lot of really good research in regards to this anime. So I do strongly suggest that people would do absolutely check it out. Now, I'm going to go into some of the intangibles. Art style. The art style is not as realistic as Psycho Pass, but it's not too cartoony that the darker tones of it would be hard to be distracted due to the art style. The art style is very good, but it's like I said, it doesn't have the realism look that Psycho Pass has, but it does actually have a very good style. But like I said, it's right in the middle of realism and cartoony. So that is something that is actually, like I said again, it's not the darker tone. The art style for the darker tone matches the darker tone, but it misses the realism. So the art style is fine. The music to the opening, the music and the montage to the opening is actually really good. It's not bad. They actually use pictures from the actual anime or screenshots from the anime in the opening montage, so they're not spoiling the anime for you. The opening music is okay. I mean, it's good but not great, and you kind of get into it. Now, the closing and the music for the closing is absolutely great. You will absolutely love the music to the closing. The montage, again, they take scenes from the anime and insert it into the closing, but the music is perfect for the closing, because after you've gone through the rigors and the travel of what the episodes give you, the closing edits, the closing music, the closing montage, it fits it perfectly. So again, like I said, opening montage, good, not great. Closing montage, amazing, along with the music. So these are my thoughts. This is an anime that I do feel you will get highly engulfed in. It's a very fun anime at times, but the darker tones do show and depict a lot of really good stuff. You can get engulfed in it because the story is actually amazing. They do a very, very good job with explaining what's going on, explaining what's happening, and it comes off very murder mystery like, and you will enjoy liking it. Now, there are elements and parts that sometimes you'd be like, they could have held this a little bit longer, or they could have waited and tried to see if the audience could figure it out first. But, again, it does give that murder mystery feel to it. For those who like the Da Vinci Code, that would be something, for those type of people, it would be good for them. It would also be good for crime show people, but because it lacks the realism in the art style, most of those people may not like it as much. But I feel that people who are into murder mysteries and things like the Da Vinci Code, they will like it. So with that, the anime is a murder mystery crime anime. Again, like I said, it's a very good anime. It's one that I feel that it's the prequel to Psycho Pass, and for that, this anime gets 4 stars. Now, the reason I gave it 4 stars is because, like I said, the art style doesn't give you the realism to it. It kind of throws it off when it comes to the darker tones. Like I said, the opening montage, it lacks a little bit. It's good, but not great. And there are points and places in the anime where it kind of throws you off in regards to the story, but they kind of fix it later on in coming towards the end of it. But it throws you off so much that it gives you more questions than answers. So for that's why it gets my 4 stars. You can actually see the first episode dubbed or subtitled on the Funimation app. I strongly suggest people get the Funimation app, because a lot of these anime reviews, I will be going there to look at them and review them. So that's where I'm getting a lot of my stuff. Again, I'm glad that you guys came to visit to check out the show. You guys like, subscribe, comment. Tell me, let me know if there's anime stuff that you want me to review, and I'll give you my honest review of it. Other than that, this has been your man John Fortune, and this has been the Anbu Anime Review.